everyone. I'd like to also start this evening by paying my respect to the traditional owners of the land on which we gather tonight, and pay my respects to elders past and present. Every time I hear this, it brings memories of Artsakh to me. Because for all of you who have had the good fortune of being in that wonderful land, you know that there is a very famous sculpture right in the middle of Artsakh, Stepanakert, which represents Artsakh itself, symbolizes Artsakh itself, and that is the statue of the grandfather and the grandmother, Babik and Dadik. It shows the great respect that the people of Artsakh have for their ancestors, and it is very similar in the respect that we show the elders of the Aboriginal people in Australia. There's a connection there, definitely. Honourable Gladys Berejiklian, Premier of New South Wales, Honourable Federal and State Parliamentarians, Your Grace, Reverend Fathers, dear brothers and sisters of Armenian organisations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today I stand here before you to also add the voice of the people of Artsakh, the government of Artsakh, to all those parliamentarians past and present who took the courageous step to recognise the Armenian Genocide 20 years ago. They also took that courageous step only a few years ago in the Legislative Council in this House to recognise the self-determination right of the people of Artsakh. Today, Artsakh, a small country of 14,500 square kilometres, 550 times smaller than Australia, stands proud because its people have come to say an emphatic no to the continuation of the genocide of the Armenian people. Jonathan O'Day and Dr. Hugh McDermott today spoke about Sumgait 30 years ago. Sumgait was the start of the war for independence in Artsakh. But what Sumgait alerted the Armenians of Artsakh to was that the Turkish forces, the forces that had decided to annihilate the Armenians in 1915, had not given up their dream of wiping out the Armenian people once and for all. Artsakh would have been the start, and I am positive that it would have continued into Armenia, and the Armenian people today would not be able to stand and celebrate their culture, their identity, as we do today. The people of Artsakh, 150,000 brave young men, women, old, the older generation, took up arms to say no to genocide. To say no to genocide in an emphatic fashion. Sumgait alerted them to knowing that the Turkish plan to exterminate the Armenians had not ended in the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of those brave people in Artsakh, again I join my voice to theirs to say a huge thank you to everyone here in celebrating 20 years of that historical motion being passed in the New South Wales Parliament. I also want to acknowledge and recognise the 6 parliamentarians who took a journey of their lifetime to Artsakh. You cannot imagine the impression that you have left amongst the people in Artsakh. Every time I visit there, from the president to people in the street, turn around and say to me, you know what? It was the Australian parliamentarians who came to give us hope, to tell us that they're with us and to give us support. I walked into the Ministry of Foreign Affairs only last year, and I must say every time I go there, I watch with pride to see the motion that was passed in the New South Wales Parliament recognising the self-determination right of the people of Artsakh. They show it with pride. They're extremely grateful for what the Australian parliamentarians, and in particular the New South Wales parliamentarians, have done for our country. I'd like to mention their names because I think it is important that we do. I'd like to start with, of course, our Premier, Kaylar Michaelian, Mari Fakara, who is unfortunately not here tonight with us, Amanda Fazio, the Honourable David Clark, the Honourable Fred Nile, Mr. Jonathan O'Day, and of course, Walt Secord, who has been to Artsakh twice. Thank you for having the courage to stand up to the bullying tactics of the Azeri government and to proudly wear your badge of honour, being recognised as someone who's on the blacklist of the Azeri government. I do not have that honour, I must say. I don't know why. I keep trying to tell them to put me on the list. They just won't do it. So I hope this time around they might hear this speech and might put me on as well, so I can wear that honour as well. I'd like to invite now Jonathan O'Day and Walt Secord as the chair and co-chair of the New South Wales Parliamentary Friendship Group to receive a small gift that I would like them to hang somewhere in this Parliament as a mark of our gratitude from the people of Artsakh. Jonathan? I think Walt has had to go, so I might just ask Dr. McDermott to come up and accept this as well. This is a hand-woven carpet with a very particular motif that is unique to Artsakh, and I hope it will take a place in your meeting rooms to remind you of our people and our gratitude to you. Thank you very much.